What is up, everybody? We're back here at the Tasteless TV Stormgate Bonanza, guys.
Bonanza. You don't even know the name of your show. Oh, my God.
It's exciting times. We're going to be going to the finals. But first, we actually have Tim Morton, CEO of Frost Giant, on the phone.
That is most excellent. Tim, are you there?
I am. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you loud and clear.
We definitely can, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Great to hear from you, Tim. I'm so sorry. It's probably about 3 a.m. over there. Am I right?
You are right. But, when good games are happening, it doesn't matter what time of day.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true, especially when so many of the good games are in Korea. Let's just do a little interview here, and Tim, there's like a lot of excitement right now, a lot of hype around Stormgate, and we've been talking a lot about how August 13th is going to be like completely free to play for everyone, but obviously we have a bunch of people that are on the ladder. We have all these pros here playing right now. People are streaming the game, having a lot of fun. But that is early access. What is early access exactly compared to the, actual launch date of the game?
Yeah, early access is a new experience for us. I think we're coming from a place where we got to spend many, many years and a whole lot of money building before we share anything with players. And early access is a process that's available to independent studios like us who want to get the benefit of feedback from players along the way before a big release in the old way, like we used to do things at big publishers. So it's the beginning of when we feel like all of the fundamental modes are there. So we've got competitive, we've got cooperative, we've got campaign. But each of those modes is still in an early phase of development. And we believe they're all fun at this point. Obviously, part of the process is for us to get feedback. And we're getting a whole lot of feedback and trying to really process that feedback and respond to make the best game that we can.
So we're here in Seoul. We've got players from all over the world. You guys have been in the lab building, creating, making this game, and now we've got these guys here competing, trying to master it, trying to find the secrets inside the game and to bring out the best strategies. How do you feel having these pros playing your game now?
It's, first off, just such an honor to have some of these legendary players play Stormgate. So grateful to have them in the game. The level of skill is so much higher than anybody on our dev team, as much as folks like Kevin and AKA Monk are really good players. These pro players just take the game to new heights, and that is something that we learn from as a team, and something that we pay a lot of attention to as we think about what are the balance changes that need to be made for the game to make it even better.
So obviously the game is still in early access. It's going to be available to everybody on August 13th. So what is next here for Stormgate?
Yeah, early access is very much just a milestone along the way towards making the game better and better. So on August 13th, there'll be some just minor tweaks because it's been such a short amount of time between the preview and the free-to-play launch. But then as each month passes, we're going to add more and more polish, more and more features. We will obviously be tuning balance, and we're watching closely to see what comes out of all of these matches. But it's really just a continuous iteration and improvement cycle for us from here.
All right. I actually have kind of a sideball question for you here, Tim. Looking at the three different factions, you guys have done a great job making them very, very different from each other, which is really nice to see because a lot of RTSs don't focus on that so much. I'm looking at all three, and I'm really interested in them. But for me personally, I'm a Vanguard guy. Like, I'm really enjoying that faction. So I'm wondering for you, as someone who is on the ground floor helping design these races, design the fields. Which of the three factions do you think is like either the coolest or the most interesting or whatever it may be that you value within the game? Like which of these? And I don't want to be hearing you like them all the same, okay? Because I've met a lot of parents that say that about their kids, and it's not always true.
Yeah, no worries. Just looking at how we built this, we started out trying to even learn ourselves the process of building a new RTS in Unreal. But consciously, what we were thinking about was approachability with the first faction. So it's meant to feel very familiar to people who Vanguard, who have played StarCraft. Coming into Infernals, we started to get more experimental, but Celestials then are the faction where I think we tried to really think outside the box. And like, yes, it's drawing on inspiration from other places, but it is really experimental, I would say. And I am the most excited about that because I think it gives the potential to shake the foundations of how to play an RTS. And it's not, at its endpoint yet. We're going to keep iterating and keep making sure that we get the balance right. But I'm the most excited about the potential for Celestials.
Awesome.
It's been wild trying to cast them, man.
They're different.
We're trying to wrap our heads around them, but we've had some crazy games. Tim, thank you so much for joining us. Always a pleasure to talk to you. We're going to let you go, and we're going to get into the finals. So thank you for being with us.
Awesome. Thanks for putting on the show, you guys. This is really great to watch.
All right, well, you heard it there.
Awesome.
Tim Morton, guys. We're going to be going into the finals now, and what a crazy finals we have here.
Dude, this is like the best case scenario. We've had so many upsets.
Yeah.
It's not a mirror matchup, and it's two players that are playing their factions like very differently from everyone else who is playing.
It is, we thought it was going to be like a parting theory finals is the most likely possible outcome. Neither players managed to make it. Instead, we're going to have ELAZER versus Probe. Now, ELAZER, I'm not too shocked that he would get to the finals of this, right? This guy's an extremely accomplished, very active StarCraft 2 pro, right? I mean, he's still one of the best in that game.
Absolutely.
Probe is a bit of a shocker. He was more of the dark horse here for the tournament, kind of the tournament underdog in some ways.
This makes some real sense to me that Probe has made it because he's a very smart player. You can tell just the way, not just the way that he has played StarCraft 2 professionally, but just like from the content that he creates as well, that he's like a thinking player, right? Like he's someone, and I think that actually you kind of have to do that as an Australian because you're so far away from most of the world's talent.
Oh, yeah.
That
a lot of laggy games.
Yeah, and you have to kind of theorize. You can't just like brute mechanics your way through or something. Like your reactions literally will be slower than other people's because of the distance. So I think that having a thinking player, a thinking pro here that really has kind of a cognitive approach, I guess, to the game, it makes some sense to me. And he's playing Celestials way different from everyone else. Way different.
He's mining that second resource, Artos.
Dude, the craziest thing I ever saw.
At least at the start of the tournament, our North Star for Celestial is basically partying, right?
Yeah.
I would look at what he's doing and think, okay, well, this is...
Well, now he's the Big Dipper.
he was the guy we'd look at and be like, okay, well, whatever he's doing is probably the best, so we should try to copy that, mirror that as much as we can. And it was really aggro. It was really about trying to get in there and close the game out before the opponent's side can develop in any way. And instead... with Probe, we've seen him. He can do the cheeses, he can do the all-ins, but he also does macro play. He's attacking. He's showing us more units than any of these other players have shown us. Now, I want to be clear. The way this bracket works is that if Probe wins the first best of 5, it's over.
Yes.
Okay? He came from the winner's bracket. He has not been defeated in a best of 5 yet. Whereas ELAZER, who was knocked out right away by parting, we thought he was going to have a quiet exit. He's navigated his whole way through the loser's bracket. But because he's already been eliminated once, he has to win 2 best-of-5s in a row.
Yeah.
So if ELAZER wins this best-of-5, we do a bracket reset.
I actually really like that. That's like a very hype way. That comes from like the FGC.
That's the FGC, yeah.
And that can give you the best finals possible. Like if you have a very close like break and then you get into that final best of 5, suddenly the tempo is on the loser's side, and it's exciting, man. I'm glad that you chose this format.
Yeah, when we were building the show and kind of going over different ideas, I really wanted to go with just sort of the classic bracket format.
Yeah.
Group stages are fun, and they make for a lot of games, but I do think there's something kind of cool and simple about doing it this way. And then, when you do come up from that loser's match, if you really are worthy of doing this, and that was, in fact, a fluke in the winner's match, you can do it twice.
Yeah. And the simplicity of a bracket, like having that storyline go through, it's like a very direct, like, here is the exact path. We're not talking about, like, well, don't forget that actually he lost his 3rd best of 3 in the group stage, so he's not actually undefeated. Yeah. It's like, no, the guy who won the winner bracket's undefeated, okay? He's the best player so far. So I do prefer that in a way.
Yeah, no, it's fun. Let us know what you guys think as well. We're going to go into the finals. This is it. We are here. Probe versus ELAZER.
Yeah. You guys can let Tasus know what you think about that, because I already said what I think, and that's all that matters to me. Okay. So, yeah. Anyways, it's going to be ELAZER versus Probe. Probe in the bottom left, or ELAZER in the top right.
And we're being joined now by Gemini and State.
What is up?
This is the Quadcast.
Oh, yeah. Let's go. And ELAZER is coming right across the map immediately, but Probe watched that series, and look, he's made a creation chamber right away, and he's already going to be mining quite a bit as well. So this is going to be a very different looking game for ELAZER, and ELAZER was saying in that interview that State and I gave him that this type of play, like if you make that creation chamber right away, everything gets messy. Like he doesn't just get to kill you right off the bat.
Yeah, it's much more likely that Probe is going to be playing this one very slow economically. He's not going to be going for the collection matrix as early as Parting did in that series, and as a result, you see ELAZER already making an adjustment. He didn't pull that many workers, only just the one. It's much less of a commitment, and things we can kind of expect from here are just going to normalize. I mean, this isn't much of an investment here for ELAZER, and for Probe, he's not playing quite as gritty as he was intentionally planning on doing it, perhaps, before ELAZER busted out those strategies, and now actually coming cross-map with a core. I'm kind of curious if Probe's me going for some counter damage of his own. Yeah, look at that. Creation Chamber already cross-map.
All right. Yeah, double Creation Chamber, so very nice to see. He's going to be putting on some counter pressure here. And actually, an Argent falls pretty darn quickly here to ELAZER. So ELAZER doing a great job. He's going to go for a counterattack here as well. Another Argent kind of going home to help defend.
I also kind of like how Probe, on his way across, actually made one Prism as well and then sent it to the island base. So it can't actually be killed right there in the middle here. So it's pretty cool that he's going to get a little bit of extra income from that while he was coming across to make it nice and efficient and also super safe.
It is really fun how the Celestials can kind of take advantage of islands and isolated locations in a way that the other factions just can't.
Yeah.
That is very cool, and I hope stuff like that stays in the game. Like, watching moves like that from Probe make me want to play some Celestial, to be honest.
Well, ELAZER actually throwing out a lot of production buildings to try and deal with this pressure that Probe is bringing onto his front door. The first Brute is going to fall. Argent's now trying to target down the second one. Overcharge also forcing these units away here from ELAZER. Probe putting on some really heavy counter pressure here to start things off. I think this is catching ELAZER very much off guard.
So he's starting to just chip away over here at the Iron Vault.
I was about to say he should target those Shroud Stones. That's way more important right now than anything.
Scratching my head at that.
I was like, did he think it was about to finish? Or no. But, I mean, unfortunately, he isn't able to get it killed off just yet. And it seems like he's actually out of energy to be able to get the supercharged attack. So he needs that power bank started here.
Yeah, but right now the Shroud Stone really helping out. Does get rid of that immediately. Continues to try to push him back with some of these Gaunts. And I gotta tell you, like this is definitely scrappy. This is back and forth right now. These two trying to pressure each other and deal some damage, and that's what I wanted to see.
I'm worried a little bit for ELAZER's position, though, with the ELAZER.
The ELAZER's coming out of those link nodes.
With the Argents getting set up here on these link nodes, this is just such a tough spot for ELAZER to be in. I mean, this Shroud Stone, it's barely got any HP left. In fact, does get canceled there by ELAZER, and with this link node set up, ELAZER, he's going to be losing production facilities. It's going to be hard for him to establish himself on the left side of his map, and the pressure from here is only mounting.
Probe is doing a great job with these Argents.
The Iron Vault is still kind of this Achilles heel. It's like this exposed area that, you know, over time, it is, in fact, going to fall right now. So this doesn't give a lot of breathing room right now for ELAZER. And in fact, Probe's going to dive in. And this means that if he can just go up a little bit, he can take out that Shroud Stone, and then the Shrine's going to be the target.
I tell you what, this is setting the tone for this series right now, and it's going to be hard for ELAZER to answer if he loses this. Yeah, GG.
Wow, dude.
So here's what my vision of this is right now, right? Like, ELAZER has been opening with this early aggression, and that is kind of his counterplay to early aggression. Now, if you're going to play against something more withdrawn, like what Probe just did, where he has multiple prisms, right, and he's staying safe against this at the same time, by making like a creation chamber before an expansion, do you try like Shrine first? But if you do, your opponent attacking you and cheesing instead of like making some economy suddenly gets a win very quickly.
I feel like Shrine first is going to be really risky here.
Yeah.
The fact that Probe did that, Probe hasn't rushed that much. Celestial versus Celestial could be a little bit different, but that was just like a really solid takedown of ELAZER. So I think that I don't know, looking at this, yeah, ELAZER maybe needs to be a little bit more aggro, maybe try to combat this like right away. Try to
it's
kill it
interesting
in its
because like the mind games are going to get super weird here because like yes, ELAZER has been doing this to deny the initial aggression from the Celestials, but then like you're saying, like it's going to get really awkward because then he could maybe try to be greedy at some point, and then his Probe going to be ending up being like trying to be too defensive and then isn't able to punish the greed and stuff like that. So when do you start pulling out the aggressive stuff, and when do you start realizing, no, I need to actually now bring back and come back to the macro stuff as well?
I think ELAZER... Sorry, go ahead, Artie. No. I was going to say that I feel like ELAZER can maybe open the same way, but he needs to be a little bit more on top of the scouting. If he doesn't see the Arc Ship, he needs to have those extra production buildings coming in almost immediately, because I feel like in that game, he was very much caught off guard. It seemed like he was maybe even saving up for an expansion. Okay. And so when the Argents started coming into his base, he was throwing down all these Shroud Stones. He was throwing down additional production facilities. Okay. He couldn't actually convert his economy into army fast enough to scale with Probe.
Gotcha.
But that only comes down to the scouting. If he was able to see or at least decipher that the strategy coming in from Probe was going to be that pressure, then I feel like if you preemptively add production in there as ELAZER, you can make the adjustment on the fly and stabilize in the early game. But if it catches you off guard the way it did in game number 1, I think that there really isn't much of an opportunity for ELAZER to come back defensively. He has to know it's coming.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally see what you're saying with that. Like, keep the early pressure build going, and then keep track of where the Arc Ship is going.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You got to think from Probe's perspective, you're so hungry to close this out with 2 more wins, right?
Yeah.
Because I do think it is a very realistic thing that as adaptive as ELAZER has been this whole tournament, that's not going away. Like, I could definitely see ELAZER struggling in game 1 and 2, and then just starting to reverse sweep and crushing through by the time we get to the second best of 5.
It looks like he's being a bit more defensive this time. I mean, this map is huge, so it's definitely hard to kind of get these types of plays across the map as the Infernal. So, I mean, he was able to do it against Parting, I guess, still on this map last time, so that is still something, but this is a very forwardly placed creation chamber here out of Probe.
You know what?
I was attacking the creeps.
Yeah, that's so funny.
What? So this is just something funny in this iteration of the game.
Oh my god!
It's pissing everybody off. It's pissing everybody off.
The priority of this thing is hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is exactly what you were talking about, State, where he needs to keep track of that. So he had to come down, that Brute, and actually scout that this was here, and he has started all his production earlier, so we're going to see if that's going to be enough for him here. I feel like he needs multiple Shroud Stones, too. Like, this is... The Argents are a pain in the butt.
Yeah, the production needs to come online very quickly here for ELAZER. I'm actually worried this might not be fast enough. All right, he does get the first Argent down. Actually, with these Fiends, okay, he closed the distance on that Argent, but of course, the overcharge going to push him back. If he can get to work on that Link node, that will help a lot. And actually,
Is he stuck?
No
in the
way.
main
He
base.
needs to
no.
make a War Prism and juggle him out. Oh my god.
Oh, my God.
Oh, no.
That's funny.
Yeah, -1 Argent here, and ELAZER actually
Oh, no,
gonna
it
spot
worked out in the end there.
Yeah, it was all defensive. This is Probe's plan
Yeah,
all
this is part
along.
of the plan.
He predicted it.
You know, this actually might be part of his plan, to be honest with you. It's a low HP Argent already.
Oh, yeah, I mean, maybe he's just using the F2.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, that actually could
if it's
be.
going to be in the front regardless, does it really matter if it's
Yeah,
F2?
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You can just... yeah.
But look at this. I mean, ELAZER, as you were saying, Artie, he started the production much faster this game, and as a
Yeah.
result, Probe really doesn't have an angle of attack in.
Double Shroud Stone. It's, you know, some very, very good defense. 2 of those early on you really do not want to attack into.
I feel like even without the Shroud Stones, look at how many units ELAZER actually has on the ground. There's only, what, 4 Argents here? He's getting pretty close to having enough army to deal with this.
The thing is, recharging the energy on the Argents and, like, kiting back over and over, I feel like eventually you do start to gain the army advantage. So I do feel like those 2 Shroud Stones are actually, like, incredibly important here for ELAZER. Without those, I feel like there would be a very clear path here for Probe. Whereas right now, it's like, okay, we can still keep making the Argents to still keep going forward. But as long as ELAZER keeps track of what's going on and maybe adds a 3rd, maybe adds a 4th if he really needs to in a few minutes, then I think he's good.
Yeah, he's also got the he's going into the Greater Shrine here as well to eventually get some higher tech units out. He did try to break out eventually with what, Hellborns, I think,
Yes,
eventually
yeah.
win one of the series. So could be trying to go for that, but it's less towers this time. In that game it was like a tower contained more than anything, whereas this time it's mostly the Argents. So I wonder if going Hellborns is even like the right play
Dude,
here.
1 Hellborn, 2 Hellborns here, I really like that. Because the Argents just get punished if they come anywhere near
Well,
it.
the range is so long on
Yeah.
the Hellborn that, like, you can't. I don't feel like there's counterplay. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was just thinking like you could maybe try to dive them because the Argents have some pretty high burst damage with their superpowered attacks or whatever. But I feel like like it is such a sick range. On them.
Is he committing to this? I mean, we don't have other bases up, right? For
Probe is fully committing. I don't even think he's building any more additional economy
Because
buildings.
I think there's like an alternative route you could take as Probe and just like take a bunch of bases and make them try to break free, but by then they're already behind. We've all played games like that where we're like, oh, I got out, and it's like, oh, it's actually too late.
I think the issue here for Probe is that he's invested so many resources in building his main infrastructure in the base of ELAZER that if he actually ever loses his position, the counterattack's just going to be devastating. He's going to lose production, he's going to lose power, and he just can't afford it. So his hand is almost forced, but the first Hellborn's already out.
You can't even pressure anymore as Probe. Like, you can't do it. The Hellborn, as long as he does not commit this too far forward, as long as it can retreat, he's so far ahead. Like, I can't imagine. How would you win this as Probe against Hellborns? Like, he's got the turtled position. He's got enough units that you can't dive on the Hellborns, and the Hellborns will, over time, just break through. Wait, why is he walking over here?
He is trying to dive it again, like I was saying, but it's
was-
just so risky to actually try and go in. The nice Shroudstone placement as well from the top bar ability is going to really force Probe back here. And like you're saying, as long as that Hellborn stays alive, it will constantly be able to dish out damage, provided that ELAZER actually does shoot with it, as he keeps canceling the attack as well. But it doesn't really necessarily need to attack. It just needs to be there as a threat to dissuade Probe from going any further.
He's going to scan here and just get an idea of what's going on. We do have a couple units that looped around, and I don't know that scan revealed that, but that was basically what he was looking for.
I think he saw the Magmadon leaving the base.
Oh my God, that's huge! He actually got it.
It was the only thing you can't let have die.
That was the only way to make this backfire.
Yeah. Honestly, I was surprised he made a Magmadon instead of saving up for a second one.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, if you just sit here and make Hellborns and your opponent is this committed, eventually you're just going to smash everything. Like, I think the Hellborn is actually, like, underrated, and especially in a spot like this.
It looks like he's going to try to advance further up here. There's another Hellborn out here. I don't imagine he's going to lose this one, but let's see.
I gotta be really careful here as Laser and cross map that Magmadon starting to get to work on this wall. And if ELAZER wants, he can just use the Magmadon to stomp his way through the trees into the main base here at Pro. Probe's got to keep that in his mind. He's moving forward again, trying to get the snipe off on the Hellborn. Able to get the white health down and the green HP down to what, 217? So not quite the snipe he was looking for, but a little bit more damage. If he can catch ELAZER sleeping maybe one more time on those Hellborns, there might just be enough Argents that he can push through and kill him.
Yeah, but like that's really the only thing that he has to make sure does not happen. Just sit back with these Hellborns. Look, he's actually picked off one of the towers now as well. So, well, two of the towers, really. Great stomp.
Oh my god, it's absolutely huge. Does force him back completely, but he's not able to actually really kill many of the Argents is the problem here. So as long as Probe's economy is not getting disrupted, he's still going to be able to constantly pump those out for quite a while. Trying to use the stomps to get through the wall looks really funny because it's not actually really doing too much, but forces that back as well. I wonder if this is like, shouldn't this Magmadon just be brought home at this point? I feel like it's not really doing much on this counterattack. I guess it like, constantly like threatens that he needs to deal with that, but wouldn't it be so nice to just have that in the army?
Or something?
Like, yeah. I guess it does force the overcharges being used, which does make more power banks and whatnot.
Well, this is, I think, is the key to victory, is you continually build the Hellborns, and you just, like, poke. But, look, like, that's a little bit of an overcommitment. Maybe he gets them back just in time. Yeah, okay, there you go.
Nice.
That was, like, exactly how far you can go right now. And the thing is, he can build more coming out as well, right? Like,
God, that windup is insane. It really does give you enough time to actually run in and snipe it if you're not careful. I was, like, aware of that, but as I'm seeing this, I'm like, man, it's like almost the travel distance just to get up there.
You know, with the Guardian Nexus coming online, I wonder if there's a world where Probe is able to get the movement speed buff on those Argents and actually run down those Hellborns when they move too far forward, because...
Well, that would be very strong counterplay here, because ELAZER is not actually being that careful with this.
Yeah.
Like,
it's
I
concerning.
really feel like all you have to do is break that position, right?
So
I feel like... yeah, this Magmadon is serious about this.
Crazy.
We finally got him to do some nice damage, and actually ends up forcing a lot of resources on that wall. That Hellborn getting dangerously close to getting killed off there, but only surviving with half.
I feel like you could literally push forward with Shroud Stones here a little bit. With like if you just made this dumbest BGH turtle position here, like, I mean, you have the siege units, your opponent does not, so you win over time.
I think winning over time, too, by the way, for ELAZER is going to happen no matter what with his extra base.
Yeah.
And the fact that this is not really... Now it's almost like Probe has to protect all this stuff he built out here.
Yeah.
And this is less of like a launching pad for attacks and more of like, I don't know, this kind of weird area he doesn't want to give up on entirely.
The Argents definitely need some speed if they're gonna get these snipes. It's just not working.
Yeah. Oh, he's getting the Kree upgrade. Oh, wait, no, it's not. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They look kind of similar. They're both
They
circles.
do. They do. That's a movement speed
I was
upgrade
like
here for the
actually so
Argents.
confused.
If ELAZER continues to poke forward, he's actually splitting off a lot of Gons. Oh, this could be a little bit of an anti-timing here for ELAZER if he's not careful and those Argents are able to close the distance.
Yeah.
He has a lot of Argents. Like, he might be able to clean that base up very quickly. Oh, and
Yeah,
now you
he's
see
got
some
Kree.
Kree.
Oh,
But
he
you know what?
already
The
has
two
the roll upgrade.
Magmadons, like, sitting in front of them, like, you try to charge in there and then the stomps happen, like, bad things could occur. But we only have, like, one Shroud Stone up there, don't we? Oh, two. Okay, a little bit better.
Yeah,
One
one
of
at about
them-
half health.
Oh, I like that we're taking the healing camp, actually. Being able to just heal those up for free is pretty sick. And then the Hellborns, again, can just keep dishing out units as those Argents just eat it in the face. Unable to really do too much. There's the upgrade coming in here with the Argents as well.
Stomps get spent there by ELAZER with the upgrade coming in for these Argents. Now, if ELAZER moves a little bit too far forward with those Hellborns, he's got to be very careful.
4 of them. Look at that.
Oh, you go here as Probe. You try and get a snipe if you can. They're a lot faster than they used to be. 13% extra movement speed, but still ELAZER able to zone them out. Just not enough here for Probe.
Yeah, so he's going to bring these Gaunts back along with the extra Magmadon. And, I mean, it seems like just over time, it's going to be very hard for a Celestial player to make anything work here. It's far too easy to fall back on your defenses at home, and you've got siege weapons here, which basically allow you to push, too.
We have 5 Hellborns now. He's approaching a full volleyball team. We are going to bring this position. And there he is. He's got the 6, man. He's going for it.
Oh
But
my
we had an
God.
Archangel to spike it back down. But
Yeah.
instead, I think ELAZER's going to be taking this one to the bank as he pushes forward, reaching down this position. I mean, he is taking it slow. ELAZER, he does not want to risk it all here in a game that he knows basically he has in the bag. 2 base against the 1 base here of Probe and more than doubling his supply. And for ELAZER, a really nice adjustment here in game number 2. Playing a lot more conservatively, really respecting the potential counterattack coming in from Probe.
Yeah, just scouting that incoming like you called, State, was really, really important there for ELAZER to get his defense up in time. And now, like, everything's being dunked upon. Probe is pretty dead.
Yeah.
He's pretty dead.
Oh, we got Seraphim
He's
coming
trying to go
out.
for
All
the
right.
Does
Seraphins
he?
as well.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Look at him go.
Yeah, he saw Parting make those. He's like, wait, what are those?
I
wanna
can
try
do
these
that,
out.
maybe?
Okay, the push is going to come down here and hit this base. And, look, I don't know if there's going to be anything that can stop ELAZER from just continuing to move down here and crush. We may see GG in a second.
You got to believe in the Seraphim's tasteless. We got 2 of them.
Yeah. It's not that many Gaunts, right? GG is called, though.
GG.
It's
that
too
many
much.
There's plenty of them.
All right. That was a cool game. That
Yeah.
was a cool game. We're having a nice finals here so far, tied up 1-1. You see Probe thinking,
Yeah,
trying to figure out, okay, how do we deal with this? How do we deal with this?
I wonder if
You
he
know-
just kind of sits back in the next game and tries to play it out macro and see what happens.
I want to see that.
That's what I'm thinking. You know, he's shown that he's very, very comfortable, very competent in macro games. I feel like all of us, probably everybody watching, our default is to assume a rush.
Yeah.
Like it's almost novel when you're like, oh, you're going to like expand and take bases and make other units. But
Also honorable.
the issue is that I think if he goes for macro play, ELAZER's so good at those types of tempo games. You know, he's a very scary player if like you're just kind of playing a standard RTS without a kind of rush that's hinged on closing the game early on. You know,
Probe has some good knowledge for later games Celestial as well. So, you know, I wouldn't fully underestimate him here. Like I think he could make a composition that could end up working out. I'm not sure what that will be exactly because, yeah, ELAZER, like, really knows how to mass up. Like, watching what he did against Party in that one game where, like, he just suddenly had, like, 5 bases and unlimited imps and just the biggest economy. Yeah. Hard to say, but I do think that Probe needs to cool it on that type of rush.
yeah. Well, I mean, how many rushes are you ever going to be able to use back-to-back to beat somebody as good as ELAZER, right? ELAZER was the first player to die in a best-of-5 here at this tournament. And I thought that's too bad because, you know, he's such a big name. And then he came back so strong today and has been so adaptive. So, yeah, I think if Probe wins this, he's probably going to have a pretty wide range of play.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's possible this turns into a little bit of a poker game with Probe being really greedy in some of these maps and really aggressive in some of the other ones because ELAZER's already kind of tempered the aggression a little bit. You see this compared to the way he played against Parting. He's only bringing 1 imp as opposed to the 2. I feel like there might be some opportunities for Probe either later on in this series or potentially in the next series should ELAZER be able to win the first best-of-5 set here in the Grand Finals and force that final set. For Probe to potentially go for a collection array first. I mean, that is the possibility if ELAZER continues to temper this early game aggression.
Well, Argent is on the way here. So as this aggression comes down, we're going to see if he turns the imp around again. He did do that previously as well when he scouted what was going on. So, you know, he could try to do something with it, but I think that isn't going to likely go too well. So it sees that Argent immediately. And does he turn the imp around? Is he going to keep going? Okay, checks, no expansion.
So he's going to hide it back here, I think.
Oh, it's like a
okay.
preemptive thing. It's like making it so that way he just
Hey.
can't take the double base.
Oh, that's really smart.
He needs, you know, he needs
needs
meat
it
farm
anyway,
anyways.
yeah.
May as well.
Well, that's a great spot to put it. Because
Yeah.
I remember when I played a couple games on this map, I'm like, oh, man, if I can't stop them from taking those bases, then I have to take that and match them, right? But this is a really easy, simple way to just make any kind of
How annoying.
seizure
look,
of that really
He's
impossible.
going to try to go right over there with the first morph core. He's going to be so surprised when he sees the meat farm already finished there.
And
Yeah.
think of how slow, you know, the morph core is. You want to have it go
Yeah.
exactly to its
Yeah,
destination.
yeah,
so,
yeah.
like, it's not just that the expansion, is denied. It's that now you have this long travel time to go to the next spot.
Absolutely.
The Argent's also not spotting it there because it's behind the Luminite mines. Makes this
Yeah.
even more painful for Pro because as you walk all the way back after moving cross map with these Argents and just forego any opportunity for pressure just to clean that up, it does not feel good.
No.
I mean, that would be worth it for a laser, even losing a meat farm that early. To
Yeah.
deny any potential aggression. here from
100%.
Probe.
100%.
He did see it, so he is moving the Morph Core away to a different location now. He's going to go to the right side base over here.
But what if there's a meat farm there as well?
Yes, we figured it out.
Everywhere he
Meat farms
goes.
everywhere.
We talked about Morph Core madness,
Yeah.
but what about Meat Farm madness? Oh my God!
Oh, wait.
no!
Hold the thought, actually.
The
Oh my God,
Fiends instead are
goodness.
going to do it,
Did
maybe.
he not see it?
I think it might have been barely out of vision.
Yeah.
That's so unlucky for a laser.
God, could you imagine that getting planted and the Fiends immediately hounding it?
Yeah.
That would be crazy.
Well, I guess he
would
could
be.
just go to the main base one anyway, and that's still going to be some good damage here.
Should force a liftoff even with an overcharge, but he's not going to commit.
Well, he's going to bait out that shot there, but he might re-engage that in a second.
Oh,
no!
Hexen!
No! It's on right click.
Oh my God, that's a massive
Goodbye,
mistake. Of all the units to lose as well. That's really unfortunate for him.
So now he's going to just send these back. Total game changer, by the way, with the Hexen out of the picture. He's going to dive in again. Let's see if he can bait out another shot. Okay, he baits out one more, but this is basically just milking all the energy
Yeah,
here
yeah, yeah.
And kind of forcing it to be used to defend when you could be doing other things on the map, like scanning, as an example.
What
Yeah,
is the laser's economy looking like right now? Like, does he have that base actually finished? Okay.
Almost done.
Yeah, not quite. So, you know, he definitely slowed Probe a bit, but it's not like he's killing it economy-wise.
Yeah, it's almost one base versus one base, although keep in mind we do have the extra saturation coming in from Probe with all of those prisms on the main,
Yeah.
and this collection array has, by now, come pretty close to paying for itself. It's, what, 350 cost, 300 Luminite per minute. Actually, Probe now pushing into the main base. Ooh, able to get a Gaunt, too. Oh, this is looking pretty good. These Argents still have some energy
Yeah.
left over. They're packing a
Yeah.
punch.
Oh man, just making the link
Dude,
node
he's
right
going
in
for
his
it.
face.
All right.
Oh, this is kind of wild. He's come in here. That's going to get shut down, but he starts another. Meanwhile, there's so much extra damage being dished out here. The kiting is happening. The Fiend count is extremely low.
Dude, so that's his tanking, so the Argents can
Yeah.
deal the
Yeah.
damage.
Oh
This is
my
the
God.
craziest
I
thing
don't,
ever.
I don't think I've ever quite seen anything like this.
No.
Where the building tanks and the units do damage.
Yeah,
but-
what? He's going to get one up, so now the overcharge gets thrown down, and that's going to be
Wow.
a GG out of nowhere. Probe
What?
just shoves it across the map. A laser with nothing to defend, and now all of a sudden Probe is one map away.
His name is Building Shield. I've never seen that before. He's
That
just
was so
warping
smart.
stuff in, and it's like, oh yeah, I guess actually a couple more volleys, and that's enough to snowball it.
Yeah, but what does the laser do? Like, do you try to focus down the Argents, which are kiting away from you, and allow the link nodes to get up and then get overcharged?
Well, I guess you would. I mean, I don't know what the real answer is, but maybe you need just more defense.
Yeah, I think
to-
you just
to-
need more units.
Yeah.
Like you can't let those link nodes get up because then they just all get overcharged, and
Yeah.
then it's so hard.
Oh,
But you
was
try to get
smart.
more units, but at the same time, your opponent has 2 collection arrays, and you're basically on a one-base economy. So
Yeah.
if you're building more units and Probe just doesn't attack, then
We're getting back to that area we were talking about
Yeah,
before,
yeah,
where
yeah.
it's like, are you supposed to maybe try to go like Shrine first or something like that?
Yeah.
Right? Like where are we ending? If he's sitting there making prisms and you know it's a big map, I think you could get away with that, right? Because you need the extra economy boost. Your opponent's like Probe's economy was great there.
yeah. And if this does devolve into a little bit of a poker game here in terms of whether you go Shrine first, whether you go collection array first, whether you try to go for the all-in with the Argent very early on, then I feel like that's going to favor Probe a lot because, in
Yeah.
a way, he has more lives to work with here.
Absolutely.
He's coming
Yeah,
from the winner's
yeah,
bracket.
yeah.
He has one extra best of 5 to play with. He can gamble all of these games, and it's
Yes.
up to ELAZER to solve it.
Absolutely.
I got to say that last game. It's very rare when you don't realize the game's about to end.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like most of an RTS game is trying to kind of, if you're casting, at least like tell the story and close it out when you finally get to that moment. But yeah, I'm like, oh, actually, you're just gonna kill him right here.
Yeah.
That's wild. By the way, this map we have a lot of rushes. We did see a laser. Was it a laser that did this, or was it Theory? who sent the imp all the way around and made like Shroud Stone behind.
That was theory.
That was theory.
That was
Okay.
theory,
Yes.
ELAZER was talking with Theory before the series started, though, about potentially sending the imp this way to chop through the trees should there be a collection array of the natural expansion. There isn't, so instead he is just going to throw down the meat camp
Oh,
here.
this is actually smart because a lot of Celestials take that base.
Yeah.
And he walled himself in, so now it's like super awkward.
Yeah, this is actually really interesting. I do like the wall on the ramp there to prevent any counterattacks actually into the collection area. That's actually so good by Probe to be able to do that, as it's going to completely deny that from ELAZER here, and then he can go right on the counteroffensive because, again, this map is so short. You can get in their face so quickly, and the meat farm on the left is also completely useless now too because he's not even expanding over there.
ELAZER spotting this chamber in the middle is so important for him because that means he can start the Conclave right now and be ready. His bank was getting up really high as he was debating whether to take another expansion, whether to ramp up his production. Now he has the information that he needs, and that information is telling him to build an army and build it fast because Probe is getting so close to pushing into this natural expansion.
Yeah, he's coming for him right now. Here comes this arc ship ever so slowly.
And this is, I mean, he's going to try to push it now. It's very apparent. You know, it's funny that this structure moves so slowly. It does give the other player time to, like, prepare. Most rushes, that things happen extremely fast. But
Yeah.
here you got
Well,
time
actually,
to kind of think things through.
I think that's a bonus because it's so ominous.
It's intimidating,
Oh, it's
man.
coming
Yeah.
down! So he's going to stop it right outside here. Now, this is a map. The ramp is pretty big, but you can kind of make the defenses necessary to
Dude, I love
lock
the
them
double
out.
Shroud Stone there. If he
Yeah.
gets those both up, this becomes so gross trying to go up the hill to make it hit, you know?
The other funny thing though is that Probe could just take these bases.
Yeah.
He can just take ELAZER's third or second base right here and just still be fine economically. And ELAZER doesn't actually have anything to come down here to kill it. And yeah, he's going to take the one at the third base here. Give a little bit of
Love
space
it.
to ELAZER at the natural because he's not able to get quite up the ramp. But yeah, you can just take that base for free unless he gets a Harbinger to go over there to drop stuff over there. He's not going to be able to actually kill it unless, I guess, maybe he can run a bunch of Fiends by, but that's super risky.
It's a bit of a gamble, though, because keep in mind, ELAZER, he is powering up on one base with a lot of production. If he leans really heavily into the tier 1 units as opposed to taking up, he's going to spot the collection
That's
array.
actually really big.
This is huge for ELAZER because now he knows if he can build enough army, he can actually move out on the map and deal with these Argents and deny that expansion from his opponent.
Yeah, I think he probably at this point is making the snap decision, saying, "Yep, I'm one base all inning. Like I can just go across and just see exactly how much damage I can do because that is so many resources to throw into getting more economy when he's look at it, he's only got 3 Argents right now. He's trying to make another
This
one.
is
You're
pretty
kidding.
greedy.
That's
This is pretty
insanely
greedy from
greedy.
Probe. No, it has to be a one base all in now from
Yeah, no, I think there's no way that you would try to
he's taking your base
to play catch up here.
This
as
is
ELAZER.
rude.
You can't let him get away with this.
I wonder.
How dare he?
You know, as ELAZER,
Does he not even respect ELAZER as a gamer?
I feel kind of bad for ELAZER going up into tier 2 because imagine if he had another Conclave right now thrown down. There's no way
Mass
Probe can
Gaunt
match
would
his
be-
production.
Yeah,
Even
that's-
with an overcharge here on the power bank, I mean, there's only still 3 Argents. I imagine the 4th Argent is only just now in production. So ELAZER, had he had enough to just move out in this moment, I really think he could breach the position here of Probe.
Yeah, I'm curious if this is actually Probe's response, knowing that ELAZER, upon getting contained, instantly goes into the Hellborns, which takes a long time to actually get set up and everything.
Peekaboo.
Oh, he finds this one as well. But I mean, I'm curious if Probe is trying to get this little timing in to get this extra eco while the Hellborn transition takes to going along, because it does take a long time. Oh,
Is he actually going to go into Hellborn here? Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he
There it
is.
is. There it is. Okay, so singular Hellborn.
But the thing is with, I don't know, is this going to drag the game out too long to where Probe's going to be in a really good spot?
Yes,
You know what I'm
exactly,
saying?
exactly.
I think you're right. I think basically these calls have all been correct, where he's abusing the fact that he went into Hellborns.
Yeah, because the thing is, Probe can actually like hold on to this position until it's not stable and bail and
then
really
just
not
leave.
lose anything.
Yeah, exactly. He's not really
Look,
actually holding anything here.
He's buying time. I mean, it's not like the Hellborn has to siege and unsiege, but it does have this wind-up, which sort of organically makes it punished if it isn't
And it's
nibble.
also only one by itself doesn't totally get rid of this by by default.
Mm-hmm.
Like you need to get 2, 3, 4 of them to really force all the units out. So it's a lot of time to get all those resources off of just one base, while Probe is mining freely off of 3 Luminite mines right now.
Yeah.
I think a laser is identifying this, and I'm wondering if that's a shrine going down all the way at the 3 o'clock position. He might be expanding to
Really?
a hidden base.
Oh,
yeah.
right,
that's
yeah.
nice.
Okay.
Okay.
So
You know
he
what?
isn't quite as much
Okay.
on a timer, and maybe if he can build a high-tech enough army here against Probe
Yeah.
and kind of force Probe into this position where he's mostly on Argents,
Yes.
a laser can find an advantage, but it does feel like that window is starting to close.
Yeah, so I think you're right. Like, if he continually builds up the tech units and is very careful and doesn't lose any, I could see him getting into a macro game and slowly pushing the left side.
Yeah, Probe is probably still
I
operating
think this
on the
is too
assumption.
far. This is too far. I think. What,
Oh, no.
Okay, he forces liftoff, which is nice, but the Argents, yeah, there they are.
Oh my god,
Oh
sniping
my
both
God.
Hellborns here is super huge. Saving one is actually excellent, though, for a laser. Nice
Yeah, but
micro.
there's so many Argents, man. He can clear up so much of this.
I mean, the
I'm
Magmadon.
surprised he's turning around that much.
I guess
I
you
feel
just
like he could have leaned in a little bit more
Yeah.
there, actually.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
he could have picked off all the gaunts and then backed up.
Are just, I mean, they're expendable compared to like Magmadons and everything else.
I mean, all the white health is going to get replenished here for that Hellborn, so that's going to definitely help out for the next
Dude, he's
little
at 4
push.
health, man.
Oh my
A
god.
4 health Hellborn.
Damn. Yeah, that is pretty rough.
Actually,
I guess he only does
it's
have
69
65.
health Artosis. He
Oh!
has the white HP.
Oh,
Nice.
nice.
Everyone
I
say nice
push
in
up
the
my
chat.
glasses.
So he does. Probe does not know about a laser's base.
No.
So
Yeah.
he might think he's way more
does
ahead than
not
he
know.
actually is.
He does not know. Look at this. He breaks through. Uses that Magmadon. Okay. Gonna creep a little bit. Wow, those are really smart creeps, man. I love how that dashed to the south. No, Magmadon. No!
No!
No, what are you
And
doing
the
down
scan,
there?
the scan comes in.
Oh,
no.
Oh my God! It's gonna get two-shotted.
Oh my.
Ah, he's gonna get down to 69 health.
Does kill it off.
I think Probe's
Oh
about to
my
win
God.
the tournament.
Oh my god, diving down onto the Hellborns as well, getting the Shroud Stone immediately as well. Look at these Argent numbers. It's absolutely overwhelming here from Probe.
This-
Lasers has nothing.
This is insane. I mean, we didn't think Probe was gonna get this far. He's gonna probably beat a laser here in this finals. Australia right now cheering upside down, of course. This is huge, man.
Yeah, they have to be careful not to jump with joy or they're flying to space. Dude, so this is like, Probe really showed his big brain here because we saw him thinking after that game where the Hellborn thing broke him.
Yeah.
So he made it look the same, then double expanded.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and then a laser figures it out too late where it's like, oh no, this isn't what I played against last game. And so, like, Probe, just kind of outthinking him here. Now, Tasteless, this is your tournament. Can you just make them keep playing so the meta can continue?
we can change. So we got to change the rules real quick before this game ends.
And that's
GG.
it, GG.
Wow.
That's insane,
So sick.
dude.
So sick.
He did it.
Oh my god. Who thought the Probe was actually going to win this whole thing? Look at him popping off as
I was
well.
pretty
He's
sure of
so
it.
happy. Okay.
Oh, you didn't think he was going to win the tournament?
Guys, like, come on. I mean, look at him. Just to be clear, he's a Vanguard player that switched to Celestial for the tournament.
In the history books,
So,
this will go
like-
down as a Vanguard win.
Of course.
yeah.
Wow. Pro played so smart today. I am very impressed. I mean, taking down Parting of all people in such a convincing fashion.
Yeah.
3-1, where it very well could have been a 4-0 because that loss honestly should have been a win
Yeah,
in
it should've,
retrospect if he had
should've.
made some better moves. He beat the favorite coming into
We
the
got him.
tournament, and then
Yes!
he came in,
Yes!
took down
Yes!
ELAZER, and he is your
touched me.
champion. My goodness, Probe, congratulations, man. That was fantastic. How are you feeling?
Oh my goodness. I was so worried about the parting series that he lost. Because I was like, I lost to this build every game last night. And I didn't try out going Prism first because I knew I might play a laser today. So we were sort of preparing for parting.
Yeah.
But then I bring out something new, something fresh, some good wall offs, learn on the fly. Oh my god, I'm so hyped.
Yeah. No, dude, congratulations. That is an insane victory. And I don't know about if you know the history of your country, but has there ever been an international tournament like this won by an Australian RTS player?
Australian RTS player?
I don't think so.
Maybe not.
I don't think so.
We had the greats from Australian RTS, Legionnaire, Moonglade,
Yeah.
Pig.
Yeah, great players all.
Yes.
But,
Got very far.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
but they didn't beat Party!
When you were going into this finals, obviously you have like an edge in the way the bracket is set up because you had not lost a best of 5. You were in the winners. Did you think you would win in the first best of 5, or were you planning on maybe having to go into that second best of 5 and try to pull it off there?
So I was chatting with the Laser about whether or not we play Jagged more, because he was obviously going to play Celestials,
Yeah.
and I thought I'd be kind, do all this sort of good stuff, not pick it in the first best of 5. So in the second best of 5, I would have picked it.
Okay.
First best of 5, I wanted to see how this new strategy went, try it out on a bunch of different maps, and I was pretty happy with how it did. So.
I actually have a question about that final game, because it seems to us what happened was like you lost to the Hellborn 1 base, and then we saw you literally, the camera's on you and you're sitting there thinking after that game. So it looked like you made it look the same, then double expanded because the Hellborns are too slow. Was that completely planned from the beginning?
Yeah, completely. Well, depending on his reaction.
Yeah.
If he starts turning on 1 base again, yeah, I'm just going to expand, tech up, get the Argent move speed. And then the issue on the 4-player map was that I was trapped.
Right.
If I was able to move away, then he can never move out on the map because otherwise I just jump on the Hellborn as well. So that was the issue I identified in that map.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, that was super crisp. Like, we were so confused at first when you were like going for 2 different bases. We're like, this seems so greedy, but then it makes so much sense when you realize that the Hellborns actually take so long to get enough to
And they're not that strong.
effectively push you out.
Right. They don't do that much
No,
damage,
like they're good
right?
at breaking a contain, but then
Yeah.
getting out onto the map, they attack too slow, so you can really just jump on top of them.
So I have a question. When you were playing, or when we saw Parting play against ELAZER, it seemed like ELAZER's early game was almost Infernal favored. He really had an answer for everything that Parting was trying. And then you came into this series, had you already mapped out your game plan against ELAZER, or were you really expecting to try and workshop everything? Because it felt like from moment 1 of the grand finals, you knew exactly what to do. You were so confident in your maneuvers, and everything went extremely well.
What I was confident in was that going Collection Array first loses.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you can hold it. So,
Yeah.
like, that's what I learned yesterday. So I knew I had to come up with something new and fresh, and I had sort of been playing around, and I'd seen a few other people go Prism first. So I knew it's a possibility. And yeah, I was like, well, let's give it a go.
All right, man. Well, congratulations. That was pretty incredible.
Thank you so much for coming down to this event.
Thank you for inviting me.
It's been some amazing games. Do you have anything you want to say to your fans that are watching right now? Winning the first live Stormgate event like this ever?
I hope I showed good games for you guys. I hope you really enjoy Stormgate. I'm really enjoying it. I've spent over like 500 hours now on this game with a full-time job. So you guys can too. It's great. It's going to have a bright future, I think. It's really getting there. So just keep playing Stormgate and support it with me because I'm going to be streaming heaps.
Oh yeah, man. Guys, any closing thoughts before we wrap it up?
Great job. Great tournament. It went way past my expectations, like
Yeah.
the quality of this tournament. It really felt at the very beginning that it might just devolve into something gross. And then everyone kept figuring out awesome different shifts in the metagame and different little tweaks to their build orders. And I tell you, a lot of these games just made me feel good, you know, where you're like, oh, this is some real RTS being played. All right, let's go.
Watching the metagame develop literally by the hour,
Yeah,
talking
it's
with the
insane
pro
how
gamers
quick it happened, right?
was truly something incredible. And yeah, I'm in the same boat. This far exceeded my expectations. It was so much fun.
Yeah, it's just cool also just to get the wide variety of matchups as well. We didn't just kind of get stuck with we got a little bit of the Celestial mirror for quite a bit there, but like the fact that then the lower bracket ended up going out in the way that it did, where we could just get the nice wide range of everything, and then mixed with all the different strategies getting thrown in, just by every single match or every single game, even like in this last series. No, it was just a treat. It was super cool to be able to just see everything develop in a much nicer way.
This was fun. We got to do another one of these. Shout outs to Core A, production team here. They did a great job. And thank you guys for coming down again to this event that we put on here. And shout outs to Frost Giant for making a great game. And I'm looking forward to the future of Stormgate. That's all the time we have, guys. Again, thank you for joining us. We love you. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.